I think he's trying to make her his vampire bride. Vampire bride? What is this, a Twilight novel? Now, why the fuck would she ask? Oh, vampires were in the Twilight novels. I get it. How subtle. Like an elephant on fucking stilts. You Shouldn't Have Let Me In is a Tubi original directed by Dave Parker, who's done some horror movies and also wrote the 2003 Uwe Boll directed House of Dead movie, based on the popular series of video games. Remember when Uwe Boll thought that he was a director and kept getting money to do various projects, including video game adaptations that absolutely nobody fucking liked and everybody pretty much fucking laughed at? Yeah, House of Dead was certainly one of them. That being said, this was written by two different people. Michael Lucid, who's done television and shorts, and Mary O'Neill, who was Officer O'Brien in Malum. It was actually a pretty fun remake of a movie that came out a few years before. Look it up on IMDb, you may be surprised by it. But anyway, nevertheless, this is set on an island in Italy, one of the many islands that I assume Italy has. I've never been there, I don't intend to go there, even though I've heard Italy is a beautiful goddamn country. Home of Monica Bellucci, so at least there's that. That's one good export. This had $1 million budget. It stars Diana Gardner as Kelsey, who, along with her friend Blake, played by Nathaniel Ansbach, they go off on an adventure. Basically, they're going to go and see a friend of theirs, Rochelle, get married. And there's some tension between Kelsey and Rochelle because of the groom-to-be. We find out a little bit later why. And from there, we see some Italian locations. Okay, just a couple. A beach, and then a villa, and also the husband-to-be goes off on his own beach adventure. Meanwhile, Kelsey, Rochelle, and a couple other people decide that they are going to go and have a bachelorette party. Well, they go to a club first, where a lot of rave music happens, and then there's this weird guy, Victor. Hey, Victor, heard about your dad. Spoke signals. And he basically comes along with a couple friends, and they invite him in, and then it becomes the second bloodiest bachelorette party I have seen on camera. You don't want to know about the first. I actually can't talk about the first until the cases are settled. I have been advised by my legal counsel to not say anything else. That being said, it's marketed as a horror comedy, and I was waiting throughout the entire movie for comedy or horror to even hit. Look, when it comes to Tubi originals, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get either something that is a decent idea but really schlocky, but you can get a little enjoyment out of it, or you're going to get something way over here that's really not very good and makes no good use of its concept. You're going to get something that's kind of okay, or you're going to get something really surprising. Unfortunately, this kind of falls into one of the previous, or the first two categories. The cast no doubt had fun making it, and they did stretch that $1 million budget as much as they could. And credit to them, because it's hard to make $1 million go far for any production, especially something like this. But, that being said, I'm also a horror movie fan. I also do appreciate when indie films get made, but I also have to be fair. This was not good at all. No doubt the cast had fun making it, and no doubt the actors in this are better than the material. But yeah, this was neither funny enough to offset the lack of scares or scary enough to offset the lack of laughs. A few neat little ideas that were plucked from various movies, and there was a bit of a throwback to Samson versus the Vampire Women with some piano music. I noticed that right away. That shows that I watched too much MST3K. And sure, it is what it is, but none of this works. None of this works at all. It's 84 minutes, and it's pretty agonizing because it shows just the monumental stupidity of various characters. And also, I think they forgot to pay the electrical bill at one point because they just shut the goddamn lights off. Or they thought it was moody and atmospheric. I don't mean to dump on people who I'm sure tried their best, but this wasn't good. And I have to call it out when it isn't very good. Tubi is an ad-based streaming service if you want to check it out. But yeah, any of the attempts to add lore or add a story, there's not really much of a story. The gore is okay. There are a couple halfway decent makeup effects. There's a couple pretty women in the cast. Some beautiful Italian men. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, if you're into both, who fucking cares? By the way, the character of Blake also happens to be very gay. Maybe the actor really is, I don't know. I'm not here to judge. If you have a problem with gay representation in movies, because gay people have existed for a lot goddamn longer than people want to admit, fuck you. Who fucking cares if people are with consenting adults? That being said, I'm going to get into spoilers, even though there's not much to spoil. I'm just going to have some fun with this. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, yeah, bachelorette party turns bloody. But before that, we have a character named Brianna that says biatch. Who still says biatch these days? I don't know. I don't know what part of Italy this actually was. I mean, I saw where the filming location was, but I don't know if that's actually where the movie is supposed to be set. These special effects are kind of dicey, especially the Lee press-on nails that were like giant guitar picks on people, or on the vampires specifically. So, they're flying in from Pittsburgh. They, basically Kelsey and Blake, they talk about the fact that Rochelle is dating and getting to marry a guy named Richard, who Kelsey used to date. That's your tension right there. There was a shot that looked like Windows 95, like backdrop outside the window. I don't know why they need to include that. Maybe it's just the way it was filmed. Rochelle's friendship has changed with Kelsey. She's a social media influencer. We know that because she mentions it a couple times. And they have an assistant named Jenny that kind of reminded me of a young Lily Sobieski. I wonder what else that actress has been in because she looks familiar. I don't know, maybe it was just the Lily Sobieski association that I came up with. But Kelsey basically goes exploring while Blake is flirting with some guys and Richard has gone off to his own beach paradise. Rochelle and Jenny go off to do something. And Kelsey meets a guy named Dario that owns a metal shop / knick-knack shop. Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog an Italian bone. There's a necklace that has the blood of a martyr that will no doubt factor in later to this. And also he mentioned something about the aria or something, these hypnotic spiders, these spiders that can hypnotize you. I would rather watch that. In fact, you know what? Next time, make that movie, Tubi. Make that movie. Make it about hypnotic spiders. Why? I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse than this. I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry, but when a movie's not good, I have to call it out. I just have to. So, basically, Kelsey ends up meeting this guy. It turns out to be Victor. And there's this old lady that's looking for her daughter that, met Kelsey at first, then got offed in the club. There are these two weird goth guys that look like they were trying to channel the non-Brandon Lee versions of The Crow. Victor and Kelsey get very, very close. You can't blame him for being attracted to Diana Gardner. And then they're going to go back to the house for the bachelorette party. But you have to invite him in. And Jenny invites him in. And then Kelsey and Rochelle argue again. We get some echoing audio outside. Good work there. And music at the snap of a finger. I wish we could have gotten better material at the snap of a finger. Or any material that didn't make me just basically want to drive my head through a wall. I don't even think this will crack the top 10 of worst movies that I've seen this year. Maybe not even the top 20, but this was very lazy and very uninspired. Blake and Dario go underneath the villa to this lair that Victor just conveniently happens to have there. And you and your friends are in great danger. It turns out Dario's part of this line of sacred knights, and he's going to help kill Victor, but they have to get this blood of the martyr. They have to get this vial, this blood, this purified blood that's just sitting in this lair. Something that could kill him is sitting right there. I don't think that Victor was very, very smart when it came to housekeeping, as a joke was made. And he's a very old, very ancient vampire. Geez, that would be implied by old, but redundant statement nevertheless. The girls get lap dances. There's some attempts to do sex scenes. The actress plays Jenny, for whatever reason, just gets bent over a goddamn table, and then we get tricks played on everybody, because it turns out Jenny really likes Rochelle, and Kelsey and Rochelle have always had arguments, and then there's this stuff, these tricks going on, and oh my god, I killed my friend, or oh my god, I did this. And then people get offed in hilarious ways. If you drink his blood, you're under his power, and you die. It's like a Dark Souls game. And you need to have a weapon. We need to have more blood. And also we need to have a stake to kill him. And Kelsey is a complete idiot, is what I noted. The character, I mean, not the actress. And Richard got killed. He got bit because he showed up while Dario and Victor were fighting. And they just stop what they're doing and just look at this dumb fuck. Which I guess it was supposed to be comedy, but it was unintentional. So Dario gets his neck snapped instantly. Great Sacred Night stuff there. And then they have to save Kelsey. And they were known as the Terrible Trio. That was referenced once in the beginning. It said the Terrible Trio is having a terrible night. What a terrible night to have bad dialogue. Okay, it's not Castlevania 2, but whatever. So, yeah, the piano music from Samson vs. the Vampire Women popped in. I mean, and I know that isn't the only movie that music was in, but that's what I thought of it from. And then 3NF fucks are trying to kill a vampire. Rochelle gets killed. Blake somehow is fine. He's fine. And then Kelsey basically put the martyr blood from the necklace in her mouth and kissed Victor and spit it in his soul. Down his hole and into his soul. And then he turns into something with about 15 million eyes. For some reason. Then she stakes him. And now she found her purpose and she's going to stay behind and kill more vampires. And then she kills Richard because he invited her in. She said, "You shouldn't have let me in." Jesus fucking Christ. Look, I don't mind a movie trying to have fun with its concept, but this took itself way too seriously, and then when it tried to have some comedy, it didn't hit at all. This was a complete misfire. Gets an F. I'm sorry. This was not good. I hope everybody had fun. I hope everybody can get more roles and get more work after this. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentland. I'll see you soon.